All right, hi everybody. Happy New Year. It's January 8th at the time of me recording this, and I'm gonna just talk about some movies that I really liked from 2025. Last year I did a couple of live streams. It was only supposed to be one, but it ended up going on for so long, and I don't even think I got through like half of the movies I saw, that I was just like, okay, we're doing a second one, and I don't know, it was a mess. And I watched even more movies this year, so I think it's at 103. There's no way I can cover that all in a live stream. And you know, some people like left me some really nice comments on like the archive stream, and they were saying that like, you know, they like really value my movie opinions, or they're gonna try to like watch some of the movies that like I put as like my favorites of 2024. And that like really meant a lot to me, you know, because I've talked about how like I was really bad at watching movies for a while, so I just like didn't watch a lot of movies, and now I'm kind of playing catch up and trying to watch as many as I can. But it is really helpful that like there's like certain YouTubers that I follow that like I like really value their opinions, and if they give something a good review or they recommend something, I go check it out. So I thought, you know, like if I could maybe be that for somebody else and recommend some of my favorite movies of the year, and maybe give some of those movies some attention, and you know, maybe help somebody find like their new favorite movie, I think that would be really nice. So yeah, that's what the purpose of this video is. It's not going to be anything super like crazy edited, not that I really do any crazy editing or anything. Like my editing's pretty standard, but like I don't want to have to deal with like copyright, and also this video is gonna be pretty like spoiler free. Like I know when I did my live stream I was kind of like, this is me reviewing stuff, I'm gonna do spoilers, but like considering that sort of the whole point of this is me recommending movies, I'm going to be light on the spoilers. There's gonna be some like very, very like light ones, maybe like if I'm trying to get across a certain point I'm making, but I'm going to, you know, try to not give anything away. So I was kind of going back and forth on how exactly I wanted to do this, because at first I was thinking, oh, I'll do a top 10 and a bottom 10, but like I don't really want to talk about my least favorite ones, because I was kind of looking at like what those movies would be, and I just didn't think that it would really be that interesting to talk about. Like, oh yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and The Strangers Chapter 2, like real original picks, Grace. Like, so I didn't really want to do a bottom 10, but I was sort of like, well, I don't only want to talk about 10 movies, I want to talk about a bunch of movies. So there is still going to be my top 10. But I also have like a lot of, I guess you could say like honorable mentions, which are movies that I think are either really, really good and just didn't make it into the top 10, or, you know, like I had fun watching them, and you at home might also have fun watching them. You know, not everything I'm gonna be listing here is a good movie, but I did enjoy all of them. And I actually have a lot of the honorable mentions. I'm gonna try to be quick about it. And this also isn't scripted, but I do have notes, because I didn't just want to sit here and like go off the cuff. Also, I'm gonna take this opportunity to advertise my Letterboxd, which I started last year, and I kept up with it pretty good. Like I actually really like using it. And I was also kind of using that to sort of help me like develop the skill to like form an opinion and like kind of analyze stuff like straight out of the theater, like immediately after I watch something. Actually, having the Letterboxd was helpful with kind of like coming up with my list and my honorable mentions and all that, because I was able to compare like how I feel about a movie now to how I felt about it immediately after watching it. And it was like interesting to compare. So let's just, you know, start off with Presents. So this is a ghost movie from the point of view of a ghost, and this was actually very contentious when it came out, because a lot of people thought it was boring, but I didn't. I thought it was cool. I really vibed with this. Honestly, like, the ending rocked me to my core, because that's something you always hear about this movie. It's like, oh my god, like the ending made it. The ending was like so crazy. Well, maybe crazy is not the right word, but the ending was like so like emotional, like oh my god. And it wasn't even just the ending, like, the scene, like, before the ending, there was, like, a bunch of twists, like, at the end. I just, like, really, really liked this one. If you don't mind something being kind of slow and experimental, you know, if you saw, like, In a Violent Nature and you vibed with it, you know, like how I vibed with In a Violent Nature, then, you might vibe with this. And, you know, like, in a similar vein, you might like Good Boy, too. So, Good Boy is a ghost movie, but it's from the point of view of the dog. I think a lot of people know about this movie. Like, I've had people that, like, don't really watch horror movies, but they knew about this movie. Like, you know, like, the big question that people have about it is like, oh my god, does the dog die? And, I mean, people will typically say no as the answer to that question. Like, I saw that online before the movie came out. I feel like that might have been part of the marketing, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, they would be like, oh, don't worry, the dog doesn't die. But that's not, like, an honest answer. Like, not completely. Like, no, because the dog doesn't die. Like, the dog, like, the good boy in question doesn't die. But there is dog death. I know that might sound kind of confusing, but there is dog death in this movie. And if that bothers you, like, you can't even handle the idea of a dog dying in a movie, you might want to skip this. This movie is, like, also shockingly bleak. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I actually didn't ever think that the dog was gonna die, because the premise of it, where it's like, oh, the dog's protecting his owner from ghosts, I thought that sounded like Courage the Cowardly Dog. I thought this was gonna be, like, a fun, goofy kind of movie, and, like, no, like, not really. Like, the ending is, like, so dark and sad. Again, the dog doesn't die, but the ending is really sad. But I honestly respect, like, the hell out of it for that. Like, I really, really do. Like, I didn't love the movie up to that point. I mean, like, I think that it's really cool that this movie exists, because this was a movie that was made over the course of 3 years, and it was, like, the director's actual dog. It wasn't, like, a trained dog. It wasn't, like, a dog actor or anything like that. Like, it was their actual dog, and they actually were just, like, squeaking a chew toy to try to get him to look in a certain direction, and, you know, trying to get him to, like, come over here, come over there. Like, it's cool. Like, it's cool that they did that. Like, you know, like, they just, like, filmed it in their house with their actual dog. But, like, I really wasn't loving it until the end happened, and I just really liked it. It made me think a lot of my childhood dog, Bella, and it actually kind of feels like an actual dog horror movie, as in, like, it feels like it's a dog's worst fear. Like, it feels like the people who made this movie thought to themselves, what would a dog be most afraid of? And then they made it into a movie. I think that's really cool. Okay, so next one is gonna be Marshmallow. Marshmallow is like a summer camp horror movie. I'm not really gonna call it a slasher, because I don't know if that's, like, appropriate, but it is kind of a slasher a little bit. Like, you know, it's a bunch of kids at a summer camp, and there's, like, some dude running around and, like, grabbing all the kids. I don't remember exactly when this came out. It was towards the beginning of the year, but there was a point where this was, like, my favorite movie of the year. And again, it came out early in the year, but there was a point where I was like, oh, that was, like, the best one I've seen so far. It feels like a full-length Goosebumps episode, and I mean that, like, as a compliment. Like, the plot I could see being a Goosebumps episode, except for, like, the very, very end, where something happens that I don't think would happen in a Goosebumps episode. Like, I think pretty much everything else would. I don't know, I just thought it was really fun. I was really invested in it. I thought the kid actors were good. Like, that's something I'm gonna say a bunch in this video, is, like, there was some, like, really good kid acting this year. Alright, Lurker. In my Letterboxd review, I said it was dreadful, and then in parentheses, complimentary. I think that's a really good description of the way that this movie feels. Like, it is uncomfortable, it is awkward. The main character has this fucking smile, and it was, like, pissing me off so badly. This was one that I believe I found out about because of Amanda the Jedi. And I didn't even look it up. I didn't look up what the plot was. I just went to it. I thought based off of the title that it was gonna be a horror movie. And in some ways, yeah, the situation is very horrific, but it's not a horror movie. It's like some guy that becomes obsessed with like this like musician, and he kind of like worms his way into his life. Like that's what it's about. And it's like crazy. Like, it just keeps going. Like, there were points that I was like, oh, well, this seems like we're starting to, you know, wrap things up. Nope, it just kept on fucking going. But, you know what? The ending of it was perfect. It was just a really, really good movie. One thing I thought was funny was that the guy who played the musician, I think his name might have been Oliver. He's played by Archie, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Madekwe. It's like Manawak. He also played Simon from Midsummer, and he played Farley in Saltburn. I like instantly recognized him. Like I was like, oh my god, that's the fucking Saltburn and Midsummer guy right there. He keeps, you know, like being in these movies where he's playing a guy that gets like, you know, mixed up with this weaselly little guy who's like fucking like manipulating him and getting him into situations. Somebody needs to free him. He needs to get out of these situations. Okay, so Wake Up Dead Man. Okay, so this is the new Knives Out movie, and like for the record, I love the first Knives Out. I think it's like a perfect movie. Like I just love it so much. Every time I see it, like I just like find new details that make it even better. I saw it in theaters twice, I remember. I really love the first Knives Out. Glass Onion, I remember when it got released in the theaters, Glass Onion being the second Knives Out movie. It wasn't in theaters for very long. Like Netflix owns the rights to the Knives Out movies. So, and you know how Netflix is with like theatrical releases, right? Like Glass Onion was not in theaters very long. I was really mad that I missed it. So this time around, when they said that they were gonna put Wake Up Dead Man into theaters, I was like, oh, I am definitely going. Like I am going to move heaven and earth to see it. I ended up having to drive an hour to some just like tiny little theater out in the Lakes region. I don't know what the fuck is Netflix's problem. I know they hate theaters, but I am very, very proud of the fact that I was able to watch it in a theater. In fact, I saw it early, because it wasn't supposed to come out, I think, until the, like the day after Thanksgiving, I think. But I saw it the Tuesday before. I do not know why this particular theater happened to have it, but I saw it, it worked out. I was very happy, and it's a good movie. Like I said, I think that the first Knives Out is like perfect, but this is definitely the second best. I think it beats Glass Onion, and I like Glass Onion. I just think it's like maybe too goofy for me. This one, I mean, it still does have like jokes and stuff, but it's less goofy. There's a lot of like really interesting conversations, like really in-depth conversations about like religion, and I love that shit. Like that's like the best part of Heretic for me. Like Heretic from 2024 is the whole like beginning part of the movie, like the first half where they're just having like all these like discussions about like Mormonism and all that stuff. Like I just love listening to that kind of stuff in movies. There's one scene in this movie that's particularly good. Like if you hear anybody like talk about this movie at all, they're probably gonna mention the scene where there's a phone call. That scene is so good. Like I was watching the movie and I'm like, this is something special. This is like beautiful. Like I got a little bit teary during that scene. And yeah, it's just really good. One complaint I have is that the poster is just blatantly incorrect. Like where they're all looking into a grave. I mean, like, not to spoil the plot or anything, but nobody's in a grave. Like, it's actually extremely important to the plot that they're not in a grave. I mean, that's not really a slight on the movie itself. I don't know if Netflix did that. It's fucking annoyed me, though, when I, like, realized. I was like, wait a second, why the hell are they looking at a hole? The day the Earth blew up is, I believe, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first fully animated Looney Tunes movie. Because Space Jam and Back in Action were both like partially animated. But no, this is fully animated, and it features Porky Pig and Daffy Duck as the main characters. I don't remember any other like Looney Tune characters being in it. I could be wrong about that because I saw this like months ago, but I don't think so. Like, the movie's about aliens, so like I fully expected Marvin the Martian to be in this movie, and he wasn't. It's really just those two characters going on a stupid adventure, and it's good. It's fun. I liked it a lot. I'm gonna give special shout-outs to Farmer Jim from the beginning of the movie, because that was like the funniest fucking shit I've seen. Like, that was so fucking good. And, you know, abruptly switching away from that, you know, me talking about having, you know, joy and laughing in the theater. Strange Harvest is the only movie this year that felt like it was too much for me. Dude, I like horror movies, and this one freaks me the fuck out. It's like an alternate version of the Poughkeepsie tapes. Like, if you know what that is, like if you watched my video on that I made however long ago, you know, it's like a documentary on a fictional serial killer. But it was a lot. Like, I remember, because I briefly mentioned Strange Harvest in the Terrifier 3 video, I couldn't remember, like, where that scene that I was looking for was in the movie, so I was skipping through it, and every time I landed on something, I was like, like, it was so much. It was so much. It was very overwhelming. It's not to say that there weren't some parts that were a little bit funny. I feel like they weren't intentionally funny. I just, you know, like I mentioned, okay, you know, I know I said no spoilers, but like, okay, I did mention this in the Terrifier 3 video, whatever, it doesn't really give anything away, that they show dead children in graphic detail in this movie. So much detail, it's disgusting, but then they censor out the dog. I don't know if that's meant to be satire on the fact that people, like, care more about dogs dying in movies than they do even, like little kids. Or, you know, like, genuinely, like, maybe they showed it at a festival and people complained about the dead dog, so they just, like, put a black bar over it. I don't know. But it made me laugh, because that's just so absurd to me. Okay, another kind of horror-ish movie on the list, Queens of the Dead. This one's way more goofy, though. This one's not anything like Strange Harvest. This one was recommended by a haunted hippie. I literally hadn't heard of this movie until haunted hippie mentioned it in a video. This is like a gay zombie movie, I guess. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Slay from 2024, except that was like a gay vampire movie. But it's kind of the same basic premise, where it's like some queer people are like in a bar, and then a bunch of monsters show up and they have to fight them off. This was made by George A. Romero's granddaughter, Tina. George A. Romero being the guy that made like the of the Dead movies. Like, you know, he made like Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead and you know, all of those movies. Yeah, so Queens of the Dead, I guess, is part of that series now, and it features a lot of little nods to his films. Like, I caught a few. I was very amused by it. It's just generally like a really fun movie. Like, I had a really good time watching it, but it did make me cry when one of the characters died. Which surprised me, but my god, I was crying in the theater about it. And I did really like this one scene where the main character, I think her name was Dre, where she finds out something from her brother-in-law, and she kind of like crashes out. It's not really the right word. She just like, but she just has like a very human reaction to it, where she's like kind of aware of the fact that like, oh, the timing for this news is not good, but also it is good news. So she's like very conflicted, and I don't know why, but I think about that scene a lot. There was just something so like I said, it was just very human, and I kind of liked those two characters' relationship. Like, they didn't like each other, but like, they kind of had like a sort of like a camaraderie thing going on. I liked the fact that Barry was kind of like the token straight guy. Like, he obviously didn't get any of this like gay stuff, but he also wasn't like homophobic or hateful or anything. He was mostly just like kind of confused, you know, like when shit went down, he was trying to like protect people and like help help everybody in the bar. Like, he was a perfectly decent guy, and he obviously, you know, on some level like cared about Dre. And yeah, I don't know, just I liked him as a character. I liked Dre as a character. I liked their relationship. I thought it was cool. Jester 2. Okay, so this is another one. I think I actually got a trailer for it once in the theaters. I didn't watch this in the theater. I don't go to Fathom events anymore. Although I did see a few this year. I saw Screamboat. I saw Screamboat being the Steamboat Willie slasher movie starring Art the Clown, starring David Howard Thornton. I saw that, and I remember the AMC app said that, you know, the movie starts like 20 minutes or like after the allotted time because of trailers. And then I got there 10 minutes after the allotted time, and they were 10 minutes into the movie. And that happened a few other times with the Fathom events. I can't say Fathom for some reason. And it like pissed me off. So no, I did not see Jester 2 in theaters. I actually hadn't even seen Jester, because all I ever heard about it was that it was a Terrifier ripoff. But, you know, Haunted Hippie has been like championing it and all that. So I was like, you know what? Like a few weeks ago, like literally like in December, I was like, you know what? Merry Christmas, Grace. We're gonna watch the 2 Jester movies. And you know what? I did like them. I think people need to shut the fuck up about them being Terrifier ripoffs, especially the second one. But even the first one, it's like, I don't know, Art the Clown didn't like go into people's minds to teach them like moral lessons about like taking care of their family. Like, the Jester in the first movie was like a metaphor for like mental illness. The Art the Clown wasn't a metaphor. He's just kind of fucked up. Like, I know I said in my Terrifier video, like the first one, that, oh, Art's kind of sort of like a representation of Sienna's trauma. But just kind of like narratively, like, oh, like nobody believes her that this clown is dangerous or whatever, like, you know, like that kind of a thing. Not like, no, he literally haunts her bloodline and she has to like Babadook him and just learn how to like live with him, or else he's like, no. I understand, you know, he doesn't talk, and, you know, he's very like, you know, like theatrical. He's like, you know, fucking like theater kid energy, and, you know, like he's got like the creepy smile and whatever. Like, okay, like I will give it to you that aesthetically, like on the surface, it's similar to Art the Clown, but really no, in no other way. The only other thing that I would say is similar is that the fact that like in the second movie, he's kind of like, you know, wandering around and choosing people at random, you know, like, cause that's kind of what Art did in the first Terrifier. But like, yeah, like that's kind of it. I mean, and you could say that about literally any slasher villain, you know, like fucking Jason would just come across people in his woods and be like, okay, time to kill. Like, you know, like they aren't really that picky. But yeah, okay, now actually getting into the Jester 2, now that I'm done with that, it barely has anything to do with the first one. I'm going to say that like right off the bat. Like, you know how I just said that the Jester, like the first one's like a metaphor for mental illness? The second one is not. Unless I'm missing something, but it is no. He's got like lore, he's got like a backstory, and it has nothing to do with the shit that he pulls in the first movie. I don't know, but I didn't really mind it that much because I thought it was interesting. I thought that the way that they told the story, like what his story was really interesting and kind of creepy. Like, it was like actually a very unique way of doing it. So there's this part where, okay, so, you know, despite the fact that he's like, you know, called like the Jester, he's more of a magician. Like, he does magic tricks on people. There's like a part where he's like pulling like a scarf out of a guy's throat, and he's like he's like fully horizontal on his chest, and I thought that was really cool and fun. And I really liked the lead girl in this. You know, I found her very relatable. I thought she was sweet. I thought that the actress did a good job. I felt really fucking bad for her the whole movie. There's this part where she's trying to like say goodbye to her mom, and her mom is just yelling at her, and it like made me cry. So you know what? I really like this movie. I don't know if they're gonna make a third one, but if they do ever make a third Jester movie, I'm gonna watch it, and maybe I actually will go watch it in theaters as a Fathom event. Okay, you know what? One of them days was just like a really fun comedy. I've seen people kind of malign the fact that there haven't been any good comedies for a while, so just wanted to throw this one in here. It's good. It's funny. I had a good time with it. I think about the part with the fast food robber a lot. Like, that was actually like really fucking funny. And then also like the loan scene where Keke Palmer is trying to take a loan out. It's so funny. It's like partially in the trailer, but it's just really good. Like the girl who's playing like the banker woman or whatever you want to call that, like the loan lady. She was killing it. She was great. Another really good comedy was The Naked Gun. You know, obviously the new Naked Gun, it's like a reboot of the original. It's not like a remake. It's supposed to be like the son of the original guy. I'm not really gonna say that much about this. It was really fucking funny. Like the dog scene and the snowman scene being like right back, like back to back. I was in hysterics. It took me like 2 minutes to calm down. Like I was like, I'm not even kidding. Like the scenes were over, we had moved on to something else, and I was like hyperventilating because I couldn't stop laughing. It was so fucking funny. I don't know if you're like one of those people that's like, oh, it's not nearly as good as the original. I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but you know, it's really funny. It was good. You know, you should watch it. Okay, I'm just like scrolling down, and the next few are ones that I feel like I have to really defend while they're on here, because a couple of these are just straight up not good movies, and the other ones a lot of people did not like. Okay, so first of all, Skill House. Skill House is like a bunch of influencers get trapped in a house and they're live streaming, and if they don't get enough views on their live stream, they die in a saw trap. It was written by one of the writers of Saw. I think it might have been like some of the later Saw films. It wasn't like it was like James Wan or like Lee Winnell that were attached to this or anything. It was, you know, somebody else. So I'm not saying this is good, but there was one scene that I really, really liked. I was not expecting a punchline to like this particular thing that was happening, but there was one, and it was really good. It's like that moment felt like the only point of the movie that had any actual satire about social media. And honestly, if there were more moments like that, like this thing might have made my fucking like top 10. Like I cannot stress to you how just good that little moment was. Like I don't want to say what it was. I don't even know if I can say what it was, because they were correct in the movie that my video might get taken down for mentioning it. I don't know if that gives too much away, but that part was good. And also, I do remember this movie being kind of gross. Like, the blood looked gross, like the color of it. I don't know what they did, but I do remember going like, ew, that looks actually really gross. And it's kind of hard to gross me out, because I'm just not super affected by gore in movies. So you know what? I'm gonna give it props for that. Okay, The Home. This stars Pete Davidson and my sister's husband. It was her fiance at the time. Saw this at one of those like AMC unseen screenings or whatever the hell they're called, where it's like, oh, you know, like you go and they show you like a movie that hasn't come out yet. And he came home and he told me like, hey, I think you're gonna like this movie. So I went into it thinking it was gonna be good. And it wasn't. And, maybe I'm a little offended that he watched that movie and immediately went, oh, I think Grace is really gonna like this movie. But, I mean, it made it on this video, right? It made it into this video. He was right on some level. The last, 20 or so minutes are, peak cinema. That was genuinely some of the most fun I've had in the theater this year, was, the last 20 minutes of this movie. It's fucking crazy. I'm recommending this movie as, you need to see the last 20 minutes of it. You probably do have to sit through the rest of it. I don't know if it matters, because technically, the first chunk of the movie doesn't matter. I know that's a weird thing to say, but if you see the movie, you know what I mean. The first half of the movie doesn't matter, but I still think you should watch the whole thing just so you have the proper context for how fucking crazy this thing gets. Oh my gosh. Okay, there was 2 Osgood Perkins movies this year, so, Keeper and the Monkey. These were, contentious. I'm gonna say this about Osgood Perkins. I almost always agree with all the criticism his movies get. I didn't agree with all of it with Longlegs. People were saying that Longlegs was supposed to be, trans or whatever. I didn't agree with that. Most of the points people make about them being too slow, or this part not working, or that part not working. It's very rare that I disagree, but I still like his movies. I vibe with them hardcore. Keeper, in particular, had Tatiana Maslany's performance. She was so fucking good in this movie. She had this line towards the end of the movie, and it wasn't at the end. It was I believe during the exposition dump, because Osgood Perkins is not good at getting his story across without just dumping exposition. That was a problem Longlegs had too. But you know what? I kind of felt like I needed it for Keeper, because this movie's really fucking weird. But yeah, Tatiana's, she had a line during the exposition dump, and just the way she delivered it, it broke my heart. I felt so fucking bad for this woman. Oh my god. And again, kind of like The Home, the last 20 minutes were really fucking fun. I really liked the last 20 minutes of this movie. I was literally sitting in the theaters yay! This is the best day of my life! And The Monkey is just a straightforward comedy. I kind of thought about making a little mini video about this movie, because a lot of people don't watch trailers anymore, which I understand, because trailers are really fucking spoiler-y now, and I'm gonna, I think, talk about that later with another movie. But the thing is there was a lot of people who went into The Monkey not knowing it was going to be a comedy, and then they were mad about it. And I don't know what to tell you. The trailers said it was a comedy. The trailers were very goofy, but people were mad because they didn't watch the trailers and they didn't want a comedy. They wanted a horror movie. And this is a Stephen King adaptation. It's an adaptation of one of his short stories. And I actually never read the short story. I almost did, because my mom owns it, but I didn't. I started it, and then I got interrupted, and I never picked it back up. So I don't know what the tone of that story is. I feel like Stephen King does have a lot of humor and absurdity in his work, so I didn't really think this was, unfitting. But, I don't know. Like I said, I got what I wanted out of it. I thought it was really funny. I went with my mom to see this. I don't usually go with other people, but my mom, like I said, she's read the story. She's really big fan of Stephen King, but I swear to God, she screamed in the theater every time something gory happened, which was every 5 minutes. I cannot believe that we did not get kicked out. But yeah, I actually just aside from finding this movie funny, I vibed with it. I feel like I've said that a lot, but I feel like I got what it was saying. It's the absurdity of having to go through life knowing that at any second you or someone you love is just gonna die, and there's nothing you can do about it. We just walk around every day just waiting to die, waiting to, like, find out that, like, someone that we love died. Like, it's just constant. If your, like, parent, like, you know, texts you and says, like, you need to call me right now, your first thought is immediately like, oh my god, someone died. We're always on edge on it, like, I think, even though, like, we're not really aware of it. And, yeah, that's what I think that this was about, and I thought it was cool. My favorite part was the smash cut to a funeral. They actually did, like, the exact same gag in The Bad Guys 2, which is also a fun movie that you should see. It's not on this list, but out of the two sequels to an animal movie that came out this year, I like The Bad Guys 2 more than Zootopia 2, so, you know, take of that what you will. Okay, next movie, Opus. I genuinely really liked this movie, and I was really surprised when I went on Reddit afterwards, and, like, everybody else, like, hated it. You know, people say, like, don't worry, blink twice, menu midsummer, like, whatever the fuck. Like, yeah, there has been a lot of cult movies. I don't think that means that nobody can ever fucking make a cult movie again. God, I remember, like, Midsummer was being accused of being a Wicker Man ripoff when it came out. And now, every time a cult movie comes out, it's called a Midsummer ripoff. This is mostly on the list because of the fact that it was the movie that disgusted me the most this year, and that, like, might surprise you. But, one thing that I don't know if I've ever really talked about is that I have a thing about, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I don't know if it's, like, germophobia. Like, I don't think so. It's just, I don't like other people's DNA being on my food. I don't even like my own DNA being on my food. Like, I know that's weird, but, like, I, like, recently kind of packaged up some chicken, you know, like, pre-planned some meals and all that, and I realized after I froze them that there was a hair in one of the bags with the chicken. And, I mean, odds are it was my hair, because I was the one that packaged it, but I was literally losing sleep about there being a hair in that bag. Like, I am not even kidding. No, but, like, seriously, like, I just, like, wasn't, like, I was literally lying awake at night, like, so stressed out about the fucking hair in the chicken. I had to throw the chicken away. It's just a waste of food, but it was, like, disgusting. And I can't share food with people. Like, I can't, like, share drinks with people. If so, like, people will, like, take, like, like, it happens to me every so often where someone will just, like, take a sip of my drink without asking. And then they get, like, offended when I don't want it anymore. It doesn't happen to me as much as it did when I was, like, a teenager. But, like, it will happen sometimes, like, one of my aunts will do it or something, or my mom, and then, like, just don't fucking touch my food. I don't know. Anyway, this is all to say that there's, like, a scene in this movie kind of early on where there's, like, I don't know, like, 50 people, 50 or 100 people or something, like, sit, like at a really long table, and they decide to share bread. And the way that they do that is they pass around a loaf of bread, and everybody takes, like, a bite out of it. Oh my god, that was the closest I felt like to dying. Like, I wanted to fucking leave. Like, God, if I was actually there, like, if I was in the movie and, like, they handed me the bread, I would have fucking thrown up. I can't believe I didn't throw up watching it. Oh my god. So yeah, it's on here entirely because it managed to give me, like, a physical reaction. You know, like, I was gagging, I was rolling around, like, it was dreadful. And you know what? I also think that there is some really cool shit happening in this movie. I actually wrote an entire analysis of it on Letterboxd, like, immediately getting out of the theater. And fucking good for me. And I, like, you know, like, read it again, and I actually think it's, like, very cohesive. I don't know how much of it, like, I was thinking I was just gonna read it out, but then I was like, no, but this spoils the ending. I can't do that. So I guess I'll say that the main character's whole thing is that she's told that she's not going to be a good writer because she has no interesting life experience. And that's kind of like the arc that she goes on in the movie, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's Opus. I thought it was underrated. Check it out. Give it some love. The Baltimoreans. This was maybe the first Christmas movie that came out this year. Like, it's funny because the past few years I've watched at least one Christmas movie in the theater, and they keep coming out earlier and earlier, because I think The Holdovers came out in November, right? And then Terrifier 3 came out in October, and this came out in September. And I didn't really want to watch a Christmas movie in September, but that's when it was in the theater, so I did. And, you know, I didn't love it the first time I saw it, but I think about it a lot, and I think back on it very fondly. It's just like a very, very nice story about very real feeling people. Like, these feel like people that would exist in real life. Like, they don't feel like movie characters, and they're just kind of, you know, going through things, like very realistic things, and they're kind of supporting each other. It's nice. It's just a very, very nice movie, you know? You want to watch a nice Christmas movie next Christmas? You should throw this on. All right, so my computer died, and now it is January 12th. Oops. Anyways, I actually realized, in the 4 days, since, you know, I recorded the first chunk, that I actually forgot to put a movie on the list. So, here is the last minute edition, Die My Love. This is a movie in which Jennifer Lawrence is playing a new mother who is basically a feral animal. Like, that's how I would describe this movie. It's like, oh, the woman is like being tamed, and she's acting like a dog. She's like crawling around on all fours, and there's some moments where she's acting like a cat, like she's scratching the wall, and, you know, it feels very much like the whole thing where it's like she's like a free spirit and she's being caged. I liked this movie. Like, it's kind of contentious because it's like weird and artsy and vague, but I really vibed with it. This is like a vibe movie. I got it. I got the vibe. You know, like, even though I'm not a mother, I did kind of feel this character in a way. Like, there's this part where she's like chewing gum and she like wraps it around her finger and then she like pops it back in her mouth. Like, I used to do that when I was younger. I don't know, like, something about that was very relatable to me. Or like, she'd get like really like, you know, frustrated at feeling cooped up, and she'd take like aggressive night walks. Like, God knows I've done that before. It's kind of funny with the whole mom thing. That's like a thing now, which isn't to say that there weren't movies about motherhood before, but you know, in terms of like movies about like, oh, like motherhood is like so scary and hellish or whatever, like the Babadook was definitely like the first big one. And then just within the past year or so, we had Night Bitch, which came out, I think, the end of 2024, maybe. And then also this year we had If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which, you know, was fine. I personally liked Die My Love better. Like, I actually really did not like Night Bitch. Like, I was really looking forward to Night Bitch, I remember, because, it was mostly just because, like, I thought the title was funny, and the whole premise of, like, Amy Adams turns into a dog. Like, I was like, yes, but, like, I just didn't really like it. This is, like, the better version of that to me. Like, because Jennifer Lawrence, she doesn't, like, turn to a dog, but she's, like, acting like a dog. She's acting like a wild animal. She, like, out-weirds Robert Pattinson, because, like, Robert Pattinson is, her husband in this movie. And it's not to say that he's like a normal person either, but he does not match her freak. That's kind of what the problem is with their relationship, I guess. Like, honestly, like, I hope Jennifer Lawrence gets, like, nominations for this movie. She was so good at it. It's honestly really exciting watching, like, all, like, the YA actors kind of grow up and become, like, weirdos. Jennifer Lawrence is, you know, she's, like, this, like, you know, like, this movie's just fucking crazy, and she's crazy in it, but she's so good. And I hope she does more weird freak movies like this, because I'd love to see them. Okay, speaking of weird freak movies, Bone Lake. This was like my most anticipated movie for October. So the basic premise was like some kind of like erotic, fucked up game. And then like it's called Bone Lake, and you know, like, it's like a double entendre. It's like subtlety on the level of Cherry Falls. I thought that was so funny. And then one of the posters, not like the main poster, like if you look up Bone Lake, it doesn't have this poster, but one of the posters that I saw in the weeks before this movie came out, it was like two cherries and then like an arrow going through them, and that was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like, that's so... that paints a very clear picture. I was like, this is gonna be something fucking special. I cannot wait. I ended up seeing it at one of those like AMC like early access screening things where it's like a mystery movie on Monday, and the screenings are like at 7. This is a whole story, I'm sorry. But the screenings are at 7, and that's what time I get out of work on Mondays. And both AMCs that I go to are like half an hour away from me. I was hoping it was gonna be a half-hour trailers. It was roughly about 20 minutes of trailers. So I got in there, and it was like 10 minutes through the movie. And my sister's, at the time, fiance, he's like the only person in my life that like willingly watches horror movies. You know, my mom will sometimes, but not a lot. And he, you know, wanted to, you know, go to this screening. And, you know, I go in and I sit down next to him, and I obviously see that the movie has been going for a few minutes. I say to him, oh, like, did I miss anything? And he said no, you know, and I'm watching the movie and I'm waiting for the part with the arrow going through the cherries, right? Like, I'm waiting the whole time for that to happen. And it doesn't happen in the movie, and I was very, very confused because I was like, why the fuck did they put that on the poster if it didn't happen? And I go home and like I Google it, and I go on like, well, actually I couldn't Google it because the movie wasn't technically out yet. So like a week later I Google it, and yeah, it turned out that happened in the first 10 minutes, and I confronted him. I was like, you said that nothing happened, and he was like, I don't know, I didn't think it was that memorable. I'm like, that was what I wanted to see. But yes, I have seen that scene now, and it is fucking crazy. This is like the second, actually not the second, this is the third horror movie where it's like, oh, the villain is a horny couple. Like, and I honestly, I can't say that like, you know, oh, spoiler, it's very obvious, I like that's the direction it's going. And I'm not gonna give anything else away because, my god, there are some fucking twists in this movie. But you know what? I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought the villains had great energy. They kind of reminded me of the villains from Pink Flamingos, which I don't know if I can justify that. Just something about the vibes. I don't know. There is a lot of sex in this movie, which I figured because it's called Bone Lake, and I was told it was some kind of like fucking erotic ass horror movie. My sister's fiance, as a result, did not like it because of that. But, you know what? I don't really care. I thought it was a lot of fun. Okay, so Toxic Avenger. So, I was looking forward to this one for a while since I found out about it, and I think I found out about it in 2023, but it finally came out. I don't know why the fuck it was banned. It's so weird. Like, because that was the whole thing with the movie. It was like, oh, it was deemed unreleasable. And, like, I don't know what I was expecting. This is a lot less offensive than the original Toxic Avenger. The original Toxic Avenger is a much more, like, tasteless movie than this. Who the fuck looked at this movie? I don't know if it was like the ratings board. I don't know if it was the studio that owned it. I don't know. Where they like looked at it and they were like, this can never see the light of day. It's fine. Like, it's gory and it's like gross, but like I have seen a lot worse. Like the fucking original Toxic Avenger. Yeah, this is a remake from an 80s movie. I don't know how many people have seen my Return to Nukem High video, where I talk about the original Toxic Avenger for a little bit. One of the main things I said about that movie was that it was like weirdly wholesome in parts. Like, despite the fact that it's like one of the most disgusting and offensive things you can imagine. Like, there's like a scene where like a child gets his head run over by a car and it's like shown on screen. It's crazy. But there's like nice parts. Like, there's like this like genuinely sweet romance with Toxie, and I think her name was Sarah, the blind woman. The fact that the town all came together to support him in the end, it's like nice in some ways. And they kept that in this, and I'm really excited about that. Like, this is a genuinely like cute movie. Like, if you can handle the gore and all that shit, it's like cute, it's sweet, it's wholesome. Peter Dinklage is so fucking good in this movie. And like the scene where he's talking on the phone to I don't remember if it was the insurance company or if it was his employer. He was trying to get access to his employee health insurance because he was like dying and there's a like treatment that could fix him, but it's too expensive, so he has to go through like his like insurance. And that whole fucking phone conversation was like I think about that scene sometimes. Like, what a fucking just heartbreaking and accurate representation. Like, fucking Saw 6 came out in what, like 2009? Yeah, and you know, Saw 6 is a movie that is like about how fucked up and awful the healthcare system is. We're still making movies about that. Isn't that fucking sad? All right, so Final Destination Bloodlines. Okay. So, a funny story about this movie, okay? I watched this like 2 days after my grandmother died, and if you've seen this movie, you know that there was probably, you know, a certain part that made my soul leave my body for a moment. I was okay after a minute, but yeah, that was a little rough. But anyways, actually, you know, I ended up because here's the thing. I don't actually know why I watched this, because I had only ever seen the first Final Destination, and I did not like it. And I have a hard time putting into words why I didn't like it, but I didn't. But I don't know. I guess I needed to get out of the house. I went to go see this, got mildly traumatized, but overall, I had a good time. I liked this movie. I ended up binge watching all the Final Destination movies, like within like the like week or so afterwards, to cope, I guess. I actually feel like it kind of helped. In case you're wondering, my favorite Final Destination is Final Destination 5, but this might be the second best in my opinion. Like, I really did enjoy it. And it was just, you know, trauma aside, I had a good time. The opening scene was fucking crazy. It was, I don't know, like kind of cartoonish and dumb, I guess, but like in a good way. Like, I am a person who is like very scared of heights, so there were certain parts in the beginning of that movie that were like, that was just like a nightmare to me. And of course I gotta mention the Tony Todd scene, because that's like the big thing that everyone always talks about with this movie, and it is very nice. So Tony Todd is he's a very like beloved actor in the horror community. He was in Candyman in, I think it was 1993. He played as Candyman, and he's, you know, honestly, he's spent a lot of his career making cameos in other people's horror movies because people just loved him so much, and he was in most of the Final Destination movies. He was dying of cancer when they filmed this movie, so they, like, filmed a scene where they essentially let him say goodbye to the audience, and it is beautiful. Like, I don't remember if I cried or not. I think maybe I was just so emotionally drained from the whole grandmother thing that just, like, I don't think I got to that point, but like, it is just, I don't know, it's like, it's just hard to put into words just how beautiful it is that like he was able to do that. Bring her back. Okay, so I don't love this movie as much as a lot of other people do. This isn't really gonna be like a negative review of the movie or anything like that, because I'm just saying it right now. If I was doing like a tier list, this would end up in A. It's just that like a lot of people put this as like, this was like their favorite movie of the year, or like favorite horror movie of the year, or it's like in their top 10 favorite horror movies of the year. And I just like don't feel that way. So this was made by the Filippo brothers. They're YouTubers, or at least they were. I don't know if they still make YouTube videos. But they also made Talk to Me, which I believe that was 2023. And I love Talk to Me. Like, genuinely, like, that was like one of my favorite movies of that year. It's like one of my favorite movies, period. It's not like in my top 10 favorite movies or anything, but like, you know, top like 20 maybe. Like, it's like, I really like that movie. And this didn't beat it, and a lot of people say that it's better than Talk to Me, and just in my personal opinion, no. Okay, so one, I thought the ending was messy, but I kind of respect what they went for with the ending, because like, if I'm remembering correctly, they had a different ending, but they kind of changed it at the last minute because, like, they were affected by, like, a real-life tragedy, and they decided that, that they should go with something else. And honestly, I respect that. I think that adds, like, a human element to the film, that it was, affected by something that happened in their real life. So, even though I don't love the ending of the movie, I don't have a big issue with it. I didn't really like the super gory scene in this movie, and I seem to be in the minority on that. It was disgusting, and it made me cringe really bad, and the sound design was awful, like, awful in a good way, like, awful, like, oh my god, it wanted to make me, like, gouge my ears out. Like, but it just felt really forced. Like, without spoiling it too much, nobody would hand a child a knife like that. And at first, I was kind of giving it the benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, this is like this is like a teenager, and he probably doesn't know how to take care of kids, so maybe that's why he did that. But then I was like, no, because he's been taking care of his little blind sister. Granted, she's not that much younger than him. She's like maybe 3 or 4 years younger than him, but he was like sort of her caretaker. Like, he had been keeping an eye out for her their entire lives. He would know better than to give a kid a knife. I'm sorry. Like, I just, it just felt like they were like, we need to, be as gross as we were and talk to me. So they just, wrote a scene, and it just didn't make any sense, and that bothers me. But you know what? Like, I'm sorry. That was just me kind of getting my thoughts out there, just because I only ever see, praise for this movie, so I decided I was gonna be a bitch for a second. But you know what? The acting was extremely good, especially since the two main leads are, young people. Like, they were played by, actual teenagers. And one of them, I think it was her first acting role ever. She was so good. And then Sally Hawkins as the villain was amazing. I didn't feel bad for her in the same way that a lot of other people did. I'm sorry. I do feel bad that she went through this tragedy, but when you're harming children, it's no, I'm sorry. But and I will say this, if their intent was to make me feel hopeless through the whole movie, and that succeeded, especially since I was thinking about the fact that Talk to Me didn't have a happy ending. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna watch all these kids die. If that's what they were going for emotion-wise, they 100% succeeded, because I was upset. I was it was despair. The only other thing I have to say is that this scene has a piss scene, and it's almost the exact same thing that happened in The Rule of Jenny Penn, which is fucking crazy. I cannot believe it happened twice this year. I also really like The Rule of Jenny Penn. I love that they use a nursing home cat to signal death. I think that's brilliant. I used to watch a lot of Animal Planet when I was a kid, and I remember seeing stuff on there about oh, this cat lives in the nursing home, and it can always tell when someone's about to die, because it's gonna, it lies down next to somebody, and then they die in their sleep or whatever. That's what I think they were going for, and I think that's so cool. I think about this movie a lot. There's this one conversation, or there's this one story that one of the characters tells another character. But yeah, I would say that this movie is about the fear of losing dignity, the fear of becoming so helpless that you can't help anyone, never mind yourself. I actually did not describe the plot of this now that I think of it. It's a nursing home movie, and it's John Lithgow is torturing the other people in the nursing home with a baby doll puppet. It's very weird. I don't know. I remember I read the plot summary of it before I went to go see it, because I just watch any horror movie that comes out, really. Even if I don't know what it is, I just I read the plot summary, and I was I have no idea what any of this means. What does this mean? And then I went to go watch it, and it was fucking crazy. It's just, I don't know, it just weirdly affected me on a weird level, and I feel bad that not a lot of people know that this movie exists. So here you go, now you know that this exists. You want to see like a sad horror movie about old people? You should go check this out. Okay, switching over to something nice for a minute. The Ballad of Wallace Island. I believe, if I remember correctly, I learned about this movie from Amanda the Jedi. So it's basically about like these like this like couple, or they're like a broken up couple, and they used to like make music together, and they get invited to do this concert on an island, but then it turns out that it's only for this one guy. He's kind of like a weird dude and kind of annoying, but like you learn a lot about him and you learn about why he wants to do the concert, and it's a very, very, very sweet movie. I'm glad it didn't go the obvious direction of the couple, of like the musical couple getting back together, because that's where I thought it was gonna go, and I was like, I really hope it doesn't do that, because that would be really dumb and cliche. Like, but fortunately, no, it was just completely its own thing. On Letterboxd, after I watched it, I said that it was kind of a coming of age story for an older dude, if that makes sense. IDK, that's what I wrote, but I think that's a good description. Like, just like a guy sort of learning how to move on and learn how to be a better person. And like, you know, just from this very strange experience he had with this strange guy. Okay, so next is Eddington. So this is the new movie by Ari Aster. That's the dude who made Hereditary and Midsummer. He's kind of like a horror legend. Now he just kind of makes very weird movies where he tortures Joaquin Phoenix for multiple hours. I think this one was over 2 hours. Beau is Afraid was like 3.5, like Jesus Christ. I didn't initially get the ending of this movie. I was kind of confused, but then I saw someone explain it online and I went, oh, that's brilliant. I'm just really stupid. I don't know. This is a period piece about 2020. Like, isn't it crazy that people are making period pieces about 2020? Like, Sick was also one too, now that I think about it. Like, it was only a few years ago, but it was just such a weird year. It's basically a story about the way corporations are feeding on the divide of the right and the left, as well as lengthening that divide in order to, like, take over and destroy entire communities for their own benefit. And that's, like, all I'm gonna say on it. It's a great movie. It's, like, fucking crazy. It also probably kind of ruined the song Firework for me. Firework by Katy Perry. Not that I ever really liked that song that much, but like every single time I'm gonna hear it now, I'm going to think of a particular scene in this movie, and it's so funny. Okay, so Dangerous Animals. So, I really, really liked this movie. And granted, I am currently binge watching a bunch of shark movies, so if I happen to find one that also does what this movie did, then I will, like, take it back and I will apologize. But, this is a shark movie that is extremely respectful and, like, even kind of loving towards sharks. Like, there are, like shots in this movie that just exist to, like, show that sharks are beautiful. And I love sharks. Sharks are, like, my favorite animal. So I have just been so offended by like the shark slander in movies, and just seeing this one, I was so happy that they were doing that. I remember the first time I ever saw the trailer. It was when my sister and I went to go see The Ugly Stepsister. They played this trailer before it, and I remember I am actually very scared of being eaten alive. I have a story about that, but I have told too many fucking stories about my life, so we are not going to go into that. But I am like very upset about like getting eaten by like an animal or whatever, or getting like mauled by an animal. Like, the idea of it is very scary to me. And I'm not really like super scared of sharks, like at least not as much as like a lot of people are. You know what? Like, my personal philosophy when it comes to animals is that if it has teeth, it can bite you. So you need to be careful. And that's how I feel about sharks. I am not any more scared of a shark than I would be a dog or a wolf or a lion. They're not fucking monsters. And I'm glad that there now exists a shark movie, which, again, maybe there's other ones that do this too. I haven't found them yet, but I'm glad that there exists a shark movie that acknowledges that, like, they're just animals. They aren't any more dangerous than any other ones. You know, like, there are scenes in this movie where people get into the water with sharks, and the sharks, like, don't do anything. And I thought that was so cool. And people were complaining that this movie wasn't gory enough, and I disagree. Which, granted, I haven't rewatched Jaws yet. I bought the Jaws book, So I'm gonna read the Jaws book and then I'm gonna rewatch Jaws. But I don't remember Jaws being that gory. Most of the shark movies I've watched the past few weeks are not gory. I don't know why people were expecting this movie to be gory, and it's honestly kind of gory. There's like severed limbs like floating in the water. There's a whole scene where somebody's like breaking their bone, and it's like, is that not enough? Do we just have brain rot from Terrifier? I don't know. Honestly, like, when I saw this movie and I saw what it was doing with the sharks, I was thinking, oh my god, this is gonna be like my like best movie of the year, whatever. And obviously it's not. It didn't even make it to the top 10 list. And that's mostly because I don't like the romance in this movie. It honestly dragged the movie down quite a bit for me. So this movie is basically about a man who feeds women to sharks, and we're following this one woman named Zephyr, and Zephyr's whole thing is that she like, she's like a loner, she doesn't have any friends, but then she has like, she sleeps with this guy, and now suddenly they're like soulmates, and they're like running around trying to save each other, and she like confesses her love to him, and it's like, I just couldn't take it seriously. I'm sorry. I don't really like romance that much. There are movies where I like the romance. Return to Nukem High is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And you know what? I was very interested in the whole Elphaba Glinda thing in the two Wicked movies. I was very interested in that. I did not give a shit about Fiyero. I went to the fucking bathroom during the fucking Straight Love song in Wicked for good, let me tell you. But I'm not against romance. It's just I didn't like it in this movie. I wish if they were going to do this whole arc with her learning that she could like rely on other people and that she needs other people, why was it just some guy that she slept with once and then she just decides that like he's her soulmate? That's so lame. I don't know. I wish that they handled that differently. Like that really dragged the movie down for me. But yeah, you know what? Like otherwise, like I obviously really like love the parts of this movie that involve the sharks. The killer was really cool, Jai Courtney. I have a lot to say about him. I'm just not gonna do that right now. And like I said, I like the idea of what they were doing with the main character's arc. I just didn't like it in execution. And it's too bad too, because like I said, like this is like right up my alley. Like in some ways it feels like that this movie was made for me. It's just not in that way. Not the romance. I do not like the romance. The Long Walk. Okay, so first of all, the acting fucking carried this movie. The acting was so good. Like, oh my god. This is an adaptation of a Stephen King book. It's basically, I think it might be 50 young men. They're like 18 to 20 years old or so, and they are chosen to go on this long walk, and it's sort of like a Hunger Games kind of situation a little bit. This book that it was like being adapted from, it was written, I believe, in the 70s, so obviously this is way before the Hunger Games. It's supposed to be like a Vietnam allegory, and it's like all these like kids, and it's, you just walk, there isn't a finish line. It's if you go under 3 miles an hour, you die. But that's what it is. It's like you gotta walk for as long as possible, and these kids are walking for like days, weeks. I don't even know if that's physically possible, but they're fucking doing it in the movie, I guess. I was on the verge of tears at least half of the runtime, and like I broke and actually cried, I think 3 times. I really like the fact that all the kids ended up being sympathetic, despite the fact that some of them did horrible things, but like they're in a horrible situation. It's kind of like a dystopian future kind of thing too, so a lot of them are from really bad upbringings, and they're all going through their own shit, and you do feel bad for all of them, or at least I did. Like at the end of the day, these are all kids, even the bullies are kids, and they don't deserve to die. They don't deserve what happens to them in this movie, and I don't know, I just like that aspect of it, especially since like Stephen King, like the bullies in his stories tend to just be like cartoonish. I'm glad that everyone in this felt like an actual person. It's really just the characters, like the 2 leads are so fucking good. Yeah, just really bleak, fucked up, but good movie. The Phoenician Scheme. It's funny, I've seen Wes Anderson's latest 2 films. I haven't seen his other films, and I really should, because I liked the 2 that I saw. But I've seen this, and I've seen Asteroid City, and people don't really seem to like them as much as they like his other films, but I really liked them. I thought Asteroid City was beautiful, and I really liked this too. This is one where it kind of ended up being really nice at the end. I liked how, like, I'm sorry, I can't remember what the characters' names were. I'm so stupid, but I liked how, like, the woman, like, at the end, she was giving into her vices more. She was drinking and smoking, and she was carrying a weapon, and her father learned how to be more compassionate and loving, and then they ended up meeting somewhere in the middle, because he starts off as, like, a corrupt businessman, and she's a nun, but then they find, like, this, like, middle ground, and they're able to just, be themselves and, like, live ordinary lives and just enjoy each other's company and just be like normal people, and I really liked that. I thought it was sweet, and I just really liked the style of it. I really liked the, like, sequences, like, whenever he dies and he, like, is seeing all this, like, weird shit in the afterlife. I thought the humor in it was good. I know that the dialogue, like, I know people were complaining about, like, the dialogue and, like, the way people were, like, reading their lines, but I kind of thought that it added to, like, the feel of it, so I liked that. And finally, we got Companion. So, this is my number 11. This was on the top 10. It was number 10, and then I saw something, technically I saw it this year. I saw it in 2026, but it was a 2025 movie. It came out at the end of the year. So yeah, that just knocked it off. That just knocked Companion off. And I'm gonna be talking about that movie in just one second. But yeah, I really loved Companion. This was, I think, a January release, which is shocking because usually January releases are, like, notoriously bad. I think Presence was a January release too, and I really liked that movie. Really, my, like, main problem with Companion, like, this isn't actually anything in the movie. It's that they spoiled one of the twists in the trailer, and that, like, really pissed me off. Like, I know that, I've said in the past that, like, spoilers don't really bother me that much. And that's true to, like, an extent. I just feel like I'm good at not letting it bother me because, like I've said, I've been really bad about watching movies, so I'm watching them really late. But because it's so late, like, a lot of them I just know about from pop culture. I know, like, how they end already, but I'm still able to enjoy the ride. Like, I saw It's a Wonderful Life for the first time a few weeks ago. I think I watched it on Christmas Eve. And I knew a lot of the stuff that happened in that movie because, that movie is just a huge part of pop culture. But, like, I still, like, bawled my eyes out. Like, I had to go take a walk to calm down. Like, it didn't bother me that I already knew a lot of the stuff that happened in that movie. But this bothered me because this was the marketing material. You're trying to market the movie to me, but you're spoiling the twist. I wish I could have experienced that moment the way it was intended to be experienced, because I was seeing it in the theater the night it came out. I shouldn't have been spoiled by the marketing material. That's, like, the one instance where I would expect to not have been fucking know any spoilers going into it is the night that the movie came out. That's crazy. I will say, though, that there's, like, another twist in the movie, and I actually guessed that early on, so good. I'm smart. I guess to talk about the movie more, it's like, and I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna do what the fucking trailer did. I'm just gonna say that it's a movie that's, like, about toxic relationships, and, you're following this girl named Iris who kind of realizes some stuff about herself and about her relationship, and she kind of has to get away from the guy that she's with. And that's all I'm going to say. I thought it had really good humor. I thought it was just, like, a really fun ride. I thought the characters were kind of interesting and fun, and Sophie Thatcher, she plays the main character, Iris, and she is so fucking good. She's been in a lot of horror movies lately. She was in The Boogeyman from 2023, which is a movie that only I watched, and then she was also in Heretic, and now she's in this. So she's, she's a scream queen, or, well, I mean, I'm sure she's doing other stuff, but she, like I said, she's been doing a lot of horror lately. This movie also reminded me a lot of Fresh. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that. I love Fresh. Just something about, like, the tone of it, the feel of it, also, like, the themes of it, I thought were very much like Fresh. You know, it's like using horror as a commentary on dating. I would say that Fresh is more of a commentary on like new relationships and how scary it is when like you're on dating apps and you're just like you're desperately trying to find someone and you're ignoring red flags, whereas this one it's more of a more like a long-term relationship, like you're with somebody for a while. I would also say this is sort of about like incels and dream girls and like power imbalances in relationships. I really liked this movie. And it's too bad it got kicked off the top 10, but it did. All right, so now we're finally got to the top 10. Number 10, The Plague. This is the one that kicked Companion off. I watched this just a couple weeks ago, and good news, I cried in the car on the way home from watching this. This is, basically like The Cheese Touch, like from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but it's a horror movie. And by the way, I've seen some people say that this isn't a horror movie. I've seen some people say this isn't a body horror movie. I think it was getting advertised as a body horror movie. I disagree with both of those points. I mean, one, I would say that this is like an anxiety movie, and anxiety is a type of fear, so I think it, earns being a horror movie, or at least being like horror adjacent. And two, I don't know why people think that body horror automatically equals gore, because this is a movie in which a character has a rash slowly spreading over their whole body, and they constantly think that they have gross shit all over their face. In what way is that not body horror? Like, when I was a kid, I had eczema, like, all over my legs. It's fucking dreadful. It's horrific. It's gross. It's embarrassing. I think this qualifies as a body horror. I'm sorry that there wasn't blood and guts everywhere. I say this as someone that likes gore, but we don't always need gore. Sometimes we can do other things. Rashes are fucking gross and awful to deal with. But also, I have like this personal connection to this movie because so I don't think I've ever really addressed this before. If you've been watching my videos for a while, or you go back to older ones, not even that old, like a couple years old, you will probably find that I pronounced my THs like Fs. It's fucking crazy that my parents and my teachers just like let that happen. The fact that I got to be like, I don't know, like 27 years old, and I was still talking like that, and nobody fucking did anything. The fact that I got through the school system and nobody did anything about it, it just boggles my mind, and it's really fucking embarrassing that I had to do that. Like, I had to fix that up, completely by myself. And, I would get, like, comments about it on YouTube every so often, and, like, people would comment on it in real life, too. I just eventually decided enough was enough. Actually, I think the main reason that I decided to do something about it was actually because I knew that I was going to be making a Terrifier video and also the Return to Nuke 'Em High video. Both of those movies had Catherine Corcoran in it, right? And also, like, Terrifier had David Howard Thornton. And I just could not, like, I just knew that, like, that I couldn't be sitting there saying Catherine Corcoran, David Howard Thornton. Like, I just knew that would be really fucking bad and embarrassing, so I just fixed it. And it was a lot of work, and I mostly have it down now. I remember I Googled, like, how to stop fucking, saying your THs like Fs, and I remember I kept finding people being like, oh, well, that just kind of happens in certain British accents. Like, you need to embrace your accent because your accent's beautiful. And, like, I agree. I agree that we shouldn't be shaming people for their accents, but I'm American. Like, that's not a normal thing here. Everyone thought I was a freak. But, like, this is all to say that the main character in this movie has, like, a speech impediment, and he's bullied for it the entire movie, and it made me really upset. Like, I just related way too hard to this movie. But, even aside from, like, my personal connection to it, like, the cinematography was gorgeous. There were really, really good child performances. Like, the little boy who's, like, the main character made me cry at one point. And, like, the kid that played, like, the main bully was amazing. Like, he was just, he said so much with his eyes. Like, that was a really talented kid. All of them are really talented kids. And I just thought that like the arc that the main character went through in this was really, really good, and it was really, really tragic, and it was just like this movie made me fucking like feel things like deep within me. And like I said, I fucking cried in the car on the way home. So, yep, it fucking kicked Companion right off. All right, number 9, One Battle After Another. This movie had the craziest villain of the year, I swear to God. Like, every time he opened his mouth, his name was Lockjaw, I believe. Yeah, everybody in this movie had crazy fucking names. But oh my God, like, it felt like I was having a stroke. He would say just the most unhinged shit. And then he's trying to join this fucking, like, white supremacist club, the Christmas Adventurers Club, which is crazy. Like, that's a crazy name. But, like, I get it, though, because it's, like, the fucking KKK. They have, like, the Grand Wizard and shit. Like, oh, my, yeah, white supremacists are fucking losers. The fucking music was amazing. I remember there was this like one like piano score that was playing for so much of it, and it was like kind of like anxiety inducing, but it was just doing so much for the scene. Leonardo DiCaprio's character Bob, he was so fucking funny. Like all the scenes with him arguing with the guy on the phone, and then the part where he like belly flops into the concrete, it was just so good. Oh, and the car chase. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a slow car chase, but I really, really liked it. It reminded me of when I was a kid and I would be sitting in the back of my dad's car and he was taking me to his job because he owned his own business. And I know what road we were taking. It felt so much more hilly when I was a kid for some reason. I get car sick, and I don't know, just sitting in the back seat makes me really sick. But I remember we were just going up and down these hills, and just the way it made me feel. And I felt that when I was watching this movie, because that's what this car chase was. It was like two cars are like, you know, like going down the road and they can't see each other because of how hilly the road is. And it's very like disorienting. Actually, now that I think about it, The Long Walk kind of had a similar like shot too that made me feel really disoriented, where like it was a shot of like the characters like looking down at their feet while they were walking, and it captured exactly what that feels like when like you're really tired or you're not feeling good and you're just watching yourself walk. Like, and yeah, but that happened in this too with the car chase. Like, it made me feel like I was a little kid getting car sick on the hills. It was just, you know, it's just a solid fucking movie. I think the reason I saw this one, if I remember correctly, is because I didn't really think that the trailers looked that good. But Adam from Your Movie Sucks gave it a 10 out of 10. And if you ever watch Your Movie Sucks, he's like the pickiest guy alive. So I was like, well, now I'm curious, because why the hell did he give it a 10 out of 10? And I don't know if I would give it that high, but it's obviously on my top 10 list. So I really, really did like it. Okay, number 8 is Weapons. So, this was my best theatrical experience of 2025. You know, people were, like, gasping and screaming in the theater, and, like, oh my God, the end. Like, if you've seen the movie, you know, the whole theater was, like, scream laughing. I remember I was at like a week or two after Weapons came out, I was walking past the theater because I was going to another movie, and I heard people like screaming like all the way from the outside of the theater, and I just kind of walked in and poked my head around the corner because I wanted to see what they were watching, and it was Weapons. This is Zach Krieger's new movie, and he had previously done Barbarian, and Barbarian's like the movie that made me fall in love with horror. Like, I mean, I don't know if I could say it's like, it was 100% that one, because I, like, you know, the same year I watched Nope and I watched The Menu, but I just loved the way that those movies made me feel. But I saw Barbarian first. I absolutely adored it. I think Weapons is a better movie than Barbarian, although Barbarian will always have my heart because that movie made me fall in love with this genre. Yeah, but like, it's kind of a miracle that Weapons turned out as good as it did, because it had to replace like all the actors at different points, which is crazy because I can't imagine it having a different cast. And I believe the only actor that stuck with it was the guy that played James. I'm sorry, I can't fucking pronounce names correctly. Alden Ehrenreich, and oh my God, he was so fucking good in this movie. There's like this scene that I'm obsessed with, where like James, his character James, is like trying to explain something to somebody, and he's telling the truth. Like, we know he's telling the truth, but he's just, like, so stupid that he sounds like he's lying, and it's, like, the funniest thing I've ever seen. He's so fucking good in this movie. I really love the way that the story was told. I think the story is really interesting. I like the fact that there's a lot of stuff you kind of gotta piece together yourself, like, in terms of, like, the villain and, like, what's going on in the story. I don't like that they're making a prequel. I don't think it was necessary, but, hey, I'm gonna watch it though, because like I said, I really fucking like this movie. And it's like maybe not as scary as like I was thinking, but like it's still pretty scary. Like, it had some pretty legit jump scares. Like, jump scares don't really get me, but there was a couple in this movie that did. It's just like masterfully done. There are so many interpretations of this movie, and I know that Zach Cregger has said that a big part of the movie is inspired by the fact that he grew up in an alcoholic household, and honestly, like, that is so fucking tragic with, like, some stuff that happens in this movie. Like, that is so fucking sad. It's also a very personal movie to him, too, because, like, it was, he kind of made it as a response to one of his very close friends dying. So I like this movie too because it's obviously just very personal to him, and I love when like you can see little glimpses of the people that made stuff in their work, and just genuinely just really good movie. I've watched it a couple times now. I've been going kind of back and forth on if I want weapons to be above Sinners. And I actually ended up putting Sinners as my number 7 just because, like, I listen to the Sinners soundtrack a lot. Like, I listen to it while I'm driving, and I think that gives it, like, the step up. Because, oh my god, nobody told me that this movie was gonna have musical numbers. Like, oh my god. Okay, so, like, one of my favorite movies is Wicker Man from the 1970s. Not the Nicolas Cage one, the 1970s one. And that movie has musical numbers, and I love when horror movies have musical numbers. Also, Terrifier 2 has a musical number. I saw this movie on Easter, because it came out Easter weekend, and oh my god, I was like stuffed full of Greek food. Like, I was like kind of like drowsy because I ate just too much Greek food. But like, oh my god, I perked the hell right up during the Rocky Road to Dublin scene. Like, I was basically bouncing in my seat. This is honestly more of a historical drama than it is a horror movie. Like, the plot is basically be like these two brothers, they open up a bar in 1930s Mississippi, and then some vampires show up. But oh my god, it works. Like, it just works so well. Like, it spends all that time with the characters, so you really care about them when shit starts getting real, and it's really fucking sad when they die. There's this part at the end with Michael B. Jordan, and it just makes me fucking sob. Like, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but like, if you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. Like, that scene just makes me fucking cry. He's so good in this movie. He plays 2 roles, actually. He plays twins. I did not know that going in. And like, I'm really stupid and not good with faces, so there was a solid couple minutes where I was just staring at the screen like, wait, is that 2 Michael B. Jordans, or am I just fucking seeing things? And no, it was him. I kind of can't blame myself for that, because the way he, like, physically portrays them, it is like they're different people. Like, he holds himself differently, and it's just really, really impressive. And also, like, the kid that plays Sammy, too, Miles Canton, he did really good. He's an amazing singer. I believe this was his first role, which is absolutely incredible. I know a lot of people put Sinners as like their number 1 for like horror movies, and I completely understand that because it is honestly like a masterpiece. But this is my list, so we're going there's actually a couple more that I put before Sinners. One of them is number 6, The Ugly Stepsister. So this actually came out the same weekend as Sinners, so like, what an excellent fucking weekend. Like, holy shit. I saw this with my little sister Georgie, and like, I don't know, maybe it was like too much for her, but like later on, I guess the movie got really popular on TikTok, and she got to be all smug, like, oh, I watched this movie in theaters because my stupid annoying sister Grace dragged me to go see it with her. So this is a body horror about the stepsisters in Cinderella. You know how, like, in the Grimm fairy tale version, the stepsisters chop their toes off to fit into the shoes? Yeah, so, like, this movie's asking the question, like, what happened before that point that could get a young girl to mutilate herself like that? And the answer that this movie comes up with is that the stepsister is deemed, like, too awkward and too ugly and fat by society, so her mother and teachers starve her and give her, like, medieval plastic surgery and encourage her to eat tapeworm eggs. And she goes along with it because she's, like, a young girl who has a crush on the prince, and all her role models are, like, telling her that this is the only way to get the prince to like her. And that, like, really resonated with me. You know, like, we always, like, are saying, like, telling young girls that, like, oh, you need to, like, be yourself and, like, embrace your inner beauty. But then the girls are, like, watching their mothers, like, waxing all the hair off their face and spending all this time doing the hair and makeup every morning. Kids, like, pick up on that stuff. And they kind of internalize that that's what you have to do. And I really, really related to the other stepsister, where, like, she doesn't buy into everything that their mother is forcing her sister into, which is kind of like me. God, like, I'm sure I fucking drove my mom crazy when I was a teenager because I never wanted to shave my legs. I didn't want to, like, wax my eyebrows or pluck hair out of my face or do any of that shit. Like, my mom would buy me this expensive makeup and she'd get really mad at me because I'd never wear it. And whenever I would say to her, well, why do you want me to wear makeup? Is it because you think I'm ugly? And she'd be like, no, of course I don't think that. I'm like, well, then why do you want me to wear makeup? And it's not like there's, like, a good answer for that. It's just, that's what you do when you're a girl, and you don't really think about the message in that sense. And I really like that, this, like, one stepsister, like, sees through the bullshit, and she's, like, kind of seeing all the shit that, like, her mother's doing to her sister, and she's reacting in horror. She is, like, horrified by what her sister's doing to herself, and then she looks down on her for going along with it, which, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of doing that too, where I'm just like, when I was younger, I would look down on, like, people who, like, felt like, they had to put on all this makeup just to go to the grocery store. Like, why are you fucking doing that to yourself? You could just go to the grocery store. Not really understanding how much of, like, a psychological thing it was. And, and then by the end, she kind of sees her sister as, like, a victim, but she embraces her for who she is. And, it's probably the nicest ending that this kind of story could have. And I'm not really going into too much detail. I know I kind of gave the ending away, but, like, my God, it is a journey to get to that point, let me fucking tell you. I don't think you are fucking prepared for the amount of just disgusting imagery in this movie. If it's true that this movie was big on TikTok, like, I'm not really on TikTok, so, like, I didn't personally see it, but, like, I hope it found its target audience, because, like, I know for a fact that little girls in elementary school are already being scared of wrinkles, and doing whole face routines, and wearing full faces of makeup, and I think that's fucking ridiculous, and I think that this is important. I hope that young girls are watching this and maybe they're, like, embracing the message of it. Okay, so, getting away from that beautiful piece of art, beautiful grotesque piece of art, we're now going to my actual favorite horror movie of the year is, the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake. I am honestly so shocked that this is up this high. Like, I went into this movie with zero expectations. I honestly thought that I was not gonna like it because I really like the original movie. I see it as an interesting commentary about the nature of punishment and slashers. I talked about it a little bit in my Cherry Falls video, and I also think that the original movie is, like, also a really good character study. So I was worried that this was just gonna be, like, a straightforward slasher, which is what the other remake was, Silent Night. I'm, like, the only person on earth that does not really like that movie, because I just felt like it took all the interesting stuff from the original way. And, like, that's kind of true of this one, too. Like, it's not, I wouldn't say that this is a character study, but I feel like it takes the important bits from the original, like the focus on the character of the killer, and it puts a new twist on it. And at the same time, it subverts a lot of tropes. And it's just really, really fun. Like, I love Pam. Like, Pam is the love interest. This was the only romance I saw in a movie this year that I actually gave a shit about. Again, aside from Elphaba and Glinda. Billy and Pam just had, like, amazing chemistry, and I really, really wanted things to work out for them. Like, I was actively rooting for them. And, it's funny, I was thinking towards the end of the year that, like, 2024 had some good slashers, but like I didn't really like the slashers in 2025 that much. I mean, I guess if you count Dangerous Animals as a slasher, I did really like that, but like Hard Eyes was okay, I guess, although like the parts of that movie I liked were like the rom-com aspects, not really so much the slasher stuff. And I'm sorry to say I didn't really like Hell of a Summer. Like, I liked the main character, but like I didn't really like any of the other characters. I just thought they were all really annoying and unlikable, and the mystery was just really fucking bad. Like, I just didn't like that movie. But then fucking Silent Night, Deadly Night remake comes out at the very end of the year and just fucking blew me away. Like, this movie felt like it was made for me. I had hearts in my eyes the entire time I was watching it. I couldn't believe how much I loved it. I think I'm gonna make a video about this movie, so I'm not gonna say too much about it, but like, oh my god, like this is exactly like what I wanted. Like, when I say that this feels like it was made for me, I mean it. Like, this movie is like a part of my soul now. Okay, number 4, Hamnet. Hamnet is beautiful. It's about the way that people will use art to come to terms with their emotions, right? Like, so William Shakespeare had a son named Hamnet, and the opening of the movie explains that back then the names Hamnet and Hamlet were interchangeable. So like if your name was Hamnet, people would call you Hamlet and vice versa. And shortly after his son Hamnet died, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. So it's believed that he wrote Hamlet as a way to deal with the loss of his child. And I kind of want to point out that Weapons is an example of a Hamlet-like story in that way, because Zach Kreger wrote it as a way to deal with the death of his close friend, Trevor Moore. Like, Weapons isn't about Trevor Moore, but it's like about loss and desperation and trying to find answers to just unimaginable tragedy. And like there's like a little nod to him in the movie, and you know, you can clearly see how his loss affected the story. And that's true of like all art. Like, people are funneling their real emotions into it, and this is just such a beautiful like exploration of that. And it's just gorgeous in general. Like, there are some beautiful sequences. I absolutely loved the sequence where Agnes had the twins, and of course the final performance of Hamlet is just incredible. And this is another one that had really good kid performances. Also, I don't think I mentioned it, but Weapons had a good kid performance too. But like, oh my god, the kid in Hamnet was so fucking good. Like, I hope he gets fucking nominated for shit. Like, I could not believe how good that little kid was in this movie. Jesus Christ. Okay, number 3, Begonia. So, I didn't know this was a remake when I went into it. And I am going to have to watch the original later because I really liked this. The plot is essentially that 2 dudes think that the CEO of a company is an alien, so they kidnap her. And there were like 3 times that this movie left me genuinely shocked. And I think everything that like bugged me or like kind of like confused me, like, oh, that's kind of odd, like, why is it like that? That doesn't make any sense. But they all had answers. They were all paid off in some way. Like, this is an extremely well-crafted movie, and it's like, every time I think about it, I just think of more stuff that I like about it. There are like dream-like flashbacks, and they kind of reminded me of the one in the Phoenician scheme a little bit too, but these are like very like surreal, and they're kind of like the main character's memories, but they've got all this like surreal imagery, and they're so beautiful. And they're honestly cool as hell. Like, I was really excited whenever we got one of those. And I absolutely love the character Dawn. And they actually hired an autistic actor to play him, which is really cool, and he did an absolutely amazing job. Like, Dawn made me fucking cry, let me tell you. So, this movie was made by, Yorgos, Lanthimos. It fucking sucks that I can't fucking pronounce his name because I'm also Greek, so I feel like I should be able to, but also I'm fucking stupid, so this is just the fucking world that we're living in right now. But he made Poor Things, he made Kinds of Kindness, and also this, and so those are the the 3 of his movies that I've seen, but like I really liked all of them. I didn't really know how I felt about Poor Things when I saw it for the first time, but like the more that movie has sunk in over the past couple years, like the more I really, really, really appreciate it. I don't know why I haven't watched the rest of his movies yet, because like I said, I really like them. Like, oh my god, like the end of this movie just like rocked me to my core. Like, you know, I saw some people say that they found it funny, but like, I don't know, man, it just like really affected me. Like, I was crying during the ending, like specifically the visual of the people in the museum. It just made me like weep. Like, I was not expecting to have that reaction from this movie, but oh my god. Like, I just really, really, really loved this movie. Number 2 is Twinless. I found out about this movie because of Amanda the Jedi. I did not even know that this existed, but you know what? This movie left me fucking shocked at some point. There's like a reveal like 20 minutes into the movie, and it like stunned me. And then I was like really mad and tense and concerned like the entire movie. But it was also like really, really funny. But it was like funny and tragic at the same time. So like this movie is about a support group for people who lost a twin. So yeah, that's obviously like a very heavy topic. But it's about 2 guys in the support group who find a connection with each other. But like, one of them's kind of got a secret. So Dylan O'Brien plays one of the 2 guys, and he's like an absolute like powerhouse in this movie. He plays, you know, both twins, and they're very, very, very different roles. But he like knocks them both out of the park, and he gives this monologue, which was amazing. Like, I was sobbing in the theater during his monologue. There's also this one character named Marcy, who I really liked, and she's played by, this is another one of those things where I just cannot fucking pronounce people's names, Aisling, Franciosi, who I know from The Nightingale, which, like, if you know anything about that movie, like, Jesus Christ, she has the range. Like, she comes off as, like, so sweet and kind and innocent in this movie, in Twinless. And then it turns out maybe she's not really as, like, naive as she comes across, but, like, that's just, you know, she just has, like, such, like, sweet energy. And then he wants The Nightingale, and it's like, holy fucking shit. She's, like, my new favorite actress, like, Jesus Christ. And, yeah, but there's just, like, oh my god, like with the comedy, I remember that there's this really weird joke, and it's like, it involves The Sims. Like, The Sims is like a running thing in this movie. I don't really know what to think about that. I can actually see that being kind of like thematic, considering like what's kind of going on. But, you know, like there's this one joke where one of the characters is playing The Sims, and it is both fucking hilarious, and it's also like the most tragic thing that I can imagine. Like, I think about it all the time. Like, just the weird fucking mix of tones. I loved mixed tones. Like, it's just how fucking sad, but also just how funny this movie is, and how like on edge I was during some scenes. It's just an absolute, just like amazingly crafted movie. And finally, my number 1 is Sorry Baby. This is another one where it has like the really weird, mixed, almost conflicting tone, but it's incredible in this movie. Like, somehow this movie is both really grim and really lighthearted at the exact same time. I have no idea how it does it. It's fucking amazing. I don't even really know how to describe the plot of this movie, because I didn't get what the plot of this movie was gonna be when I went into it, because like the plot description doesn't really give anything away. It just says like Agnes is dealing with like an event that happened to her. So I guess as a result, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what the event is. It is something that I have a lot of opinions on. I actually kind of made a video about it this year. Not the exact thing that happens like in this movie, like the exact way that like it happens, but it's you know, it was something I talked about in depth. And I thought that this movie handled it really, really well. Like, it handled it in an extremely tasteful way. And in fact, I felt like the way that it handled it was appropriate to the way that the character was handling it, where the character had a hard time even kind of acknowledging that it happened to her. The way I've described this movie to people, and this is, I think, the best way to sort of describe what it feels like to me, is that it's about the absurdity of having to go through life as normal after something traumatic. You know, the world doesn't stop. You still have to get up and go to work. You know, like you're still gonna have friendships and relationships, and you're still gonna have to go to jury duty, and you still have to go to the grocery store, but all while you're just dealing with the most, like, unimaginable shit. And I don't know, that's, like, what the movie felt like to me, because, like, when I have explained this movie to people and I say, like, this is what the movie is, and also it's a comedy, they look at me like I'm crazy, and it's like, yeah, but the bad thing that happened to her isn't the part that's treated as comedic, it's the part, like, it's all the stuff that's happening, like, in her day-to-day life while she's trying to deal with it. I also really appreciate the fact that, like, she's actually, like, doing really well for herself even after this is happening. Like, she's very smart, she's very successful, she's kind of on the surface, like, doing amazing, but there's all these, like, layers of just trauma and grief and, like, just pain to you know, to her success. Like, it, you know, and I feel like in a lot of movies, like, when someone goes through something horrific, they show them as, like, struggling and not being able to function. And it's not to say that people don't deal with tragedy like that, but, you know, a lot of times people just have to keep going, and you could look at somebody and think that they're doing really, really well, but, you know, you don't know what's going on underneath. There's also these genuinely warm interactions and, like, unspoken understandings that the main character Agnes has with friends, but also with complete strangers. Like, some of the most beautiful moments in this movie are when a stranger kind of, like, understands without her having to say anything what happened to her or what she's going through, and they just offer her, like, kindness. And they're just very genuinely, like, beautiful, nice interactions. And, you know, just that little bit of kindness from a stranger is enough to help her get her through the day. Like, I know I already said it, but the way that they handled the event was very, very refreshing, considering all the shit I watched, and, you know, to make that one video. Like, you know, it kind of, like, a point that I had made in that video, again, I'm sorry, I'm not saying exactly what the event is, but the point that I had made in that video was that you do not have to show this particular thing happening for the audience to understand that it's bad, because people just intrinsically know that. And this is, like, the perfect example of this. Like, there is this, like, shot of her after it happens, and it's just her face, and you're just watching her react and try to process what just happened to her. And it's just Eva Victor's performance. Eva Victor wrote, directed, and she starred in the movie, and it's just her performance. Like, it's her face is telling the entire story. It tells you everything that you have to know, and it's amazing, and the audience just completely understands exactly what happened. It's so good. I just do not have enough words of praise for this movie. I was really excited that Eva Victor was nominated for a Golden Globe. I really did not think that this movie was gonna get any attention, because it was very small. I feel like a lot of people didn't see it. Amanda the Jedi told me about it. She didn't tell me, we don't know each other, but, like, she, like, letterboxed it, and I saw her review, and I saw that it was playing at AMC, so I went to go see it. And, yeah, I'm just really, really happy that it worked out like that, because I absolutely just adore this movie. I hope that the fact that she got nominated for a Golden Globe means that maybe she'll get, nominated at the Oscars. I mean, I know, like, realistically, I shouldn't put too much stake in the Oscars, but, it would just be really nice to have this movie get some, like, you know, positive attention, because I think it really deserves it. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. It's 2026 now, and you know what? I've seen 2 new movies. I've seen Primate, and I've seen We Bury the Dead, and I've liked them both a lot. Primate's definitely one of those movies where it's like, I don't know if you could consider it a good movie or not, but I certainly had fun. And, I feel like maybe, like, the curse of the January movie is over, because I feel like there's been good ones in January for the past few years. And, So I'm really excited to see what 2026 holds. There's like a few movies I'm really looking forward to. Really excited for Undertone. I'm really excited for Obsessed. I don't know if I'm excited for Iron Lung, and I'm saying that just because there was so much fucking drama with Shelby Oaks, and it was so fucking exhausting. But yeah, thank you for watching. Obviously, this isn't like a very highly edited or scripted video or whatever. I just sort of wanted to get this out there, and, you know, if you care about my opinion on movies at all, I hope maybe I introduced you to some movies that you're really gonna like. Thank you to my patrons, special thank you to Steven Hutchinson, who's my top patron. If you want to support me on Patreon, feel free. I don't really have like a strict schedule for when things are gonna come out this year. Like last year, I was like, okay, we're gonna have In a Violent Nature around May, we're gonna have Cherry Falls around August, and then Terrifier 3 is gonna be around Christmas. This year, I have a video planned for Christmas. Maybe we're gonna see how that goes. But then the two other videos I'm thinking of making, I have no fucking idea when they're coming out. They're coming out when they come out. So, you know, just, you know, be patient with me. I'm currently in the research stage of all these videos, and they're gonna come out when they come out. Alright, well, Happy New Year, everybody, and goodbye.